on there, YouTube? So after a little chat with my buddy Richard Cook earlier, he got a wild hair. He had built a custom aluminum gas tank for one of his customer builds, and looked pretty cool. So we started talking about it, and one thing led to another. So I had to make a trip to Home Depot. I got some copper, cause yeah, I like to braze. I like to solder. So we're not fixing any leaky pipes. We're going to try to build a copper fuel tank for the number 2 rat rod back there. Alright, so I have here 3/4 inch PVC, 3/4 inch copper. This is the shortest they sell, was 2 foot. And then I've got the end caps, and I bought one coupling just in case. Wasn't sure how long. Now, realistically, that would be plenty big for a tank. But I think I'm still going to have to cut a piece of this, and I bought extras here. I'm going to try to cut these down to where they're just an end, where there's just a very small lip that slides over the edge, and I can solder it to it. That way you don't have a seam that far into your tank. It would just look kind of funny, I think, the length that this tank's going to be. So first step, I'm going to go ahead and try to cut one of these things down. See what it looks like. Alright guys, so this isn't working out quite as well as I'd hoped. I cut the first cap down, and it's too uneven, it's too jagged. My bandsaw, the blade keeps popping off. These are getting too hot, and even on the main piece of tube where it's laying flat, the blade starts walking side to side, so I can't get a good even cut. As you can see here, it's still cutting crooked. So I cut this piece, and I put 2 end caps on it. It's not quite the look I was hoping for. So I'm going to mess around with some other ideas here and see what I can come up with. I cut this one. It started melting the that Ryobi green plastic around where the blade is on the cutting surface. It started melting the plastic onto the copper. I figured that'll get burned off later anyway. So yeah, I don't know yet. I'm going to keep messing around, see what I can come up with. Alright guys, so I found another way around this. I got my old pipe cutter, just a clamp style, and spent a little time. I've got my original piece inside. I've got the full end caps on the ends, and then I had the coupling, which I clean cut an edge down and put it in the middle. So now I think that'll be filled with solder. It'll look kind of cool, and then I can make some sort of strapping it down. Even though I think it's not going to be strapped to the truck, I think it's going to actually be bolted in. So I guess the next step is to solder this bad boy together, and that's going to be a whole different kind of challenge in itself. So let me try to get something set up here and see about doing this. Alright guys, so I'm going to give this a shot. I know the magnets aren't doing anything for the copper, but they're holding it up off of the base, and it shouldn't go anywhere, hopefully. Now for this, I've got different stuff. I've got a dried out flux brush. I've got some water soluble paste flux. I've got some silver solder, silver lead free solder. We're doing this like we're doing plumbing. We're not doing this like brazing like I've typically done. The copper does get hot easier, so we're using this little propane torch instead of the oxygen and MAP gas torch. So I'm going to give this a go. I hadn't done this in about 5 years since I've done any copper plumbing work, so this ought to be interesting. Alright guys, after much sanding to clean up the mess I made, I hadn't soldered in a long time. That was a lot runnier than I remembered. This is obviously going to be the bottom where it puddled. I've got to clean out the grooves a little bit. It's not perfect. I got a little bit of excess solder up here on top, but I'm just going to roll with it. I've been sanding and working my way down to, I think, 1,000 grit. I've got to do some more research. I'm looking online trying to figure out how to weather this. There's lots of different methods. they all seem to take a little too long since I'm in the middle of a video right now, so I need something quick. So I'm going to keep looking at that, but I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole. I've got to figure out some way to make a filler cap, figure out the right kind of piece I need there for the lid. So I'm going to do some digging around the shop here and see what I can find, and then we'll drill a hole in it. Alright guys, I got caught up building. I forgot to film that. This is an RC 4-wheel drive worn hub that I've had. Those never held up very well for me. So the outer sleeve of it had come off and they just wouldn't stay tight on the truck. So they're all boogered up and it looks like something you would stick your hand in and turn to open the gas cap. This is where I'm thinking about mounting my tank. Now, it's a little bit bigger than I intended. I should have made it just a hair smaller. I was just eyeballing it. I want to put it lower down between the rails. Now the ends of the tank bulge, so it is hard to cram down in there. I will have to take the screws loose on the back to get it in there. Now I'm thinking I can just drill the center on both sides and then use these existing holes that I have to mount the bed, and then I can just put a screw in from each side all the way into the fuel tank. Hopefully I'll be able to tap the inside of the fuel tank. Couple issues with this. I think I'm going to have enough room to clear my upper suspension mounts, I think. And 2, I don't have any screws long enough, especially scale hardware. 3, I don't have spacers to put up here yet. I use these semi-truck spacers for the back, and I haven't run across any more at the moment. So I'm not sure yet how this is going to pan out. I'm going to have to do some more messing around with it, but I drilled that out. It's like 17/64. It's the exact size, but it still wouldn't go quite in, so I just hammered that sucker down in there. It ain't going anywhere. I mean, it ain't coming out. I put that on the concrete and hammered it a little bit, so I really don't want the tank to ride this high. I would like it to sit down a little bit lower. I still have no idea how I'm going to weather it, but let me do some messing around and then we'll pick back up. Alright guys, I got lost in the building here. I tried to weather it a little bit. It wasn't really panning out. I had to do some more research on that. It's a pain in the butt to take in and out. Then now it is drilled on both ends. I found some spacers to use and the bed is fully attached in 4 places. Fuel tank is part of that. Rear cross member is the other part of that. So it's not going anywhere. I'm not sure how I feel about my leather straps. I cut up an old wallet I had and I tried to use the bit that had the stitching on it. If you can see that. So it I don't know, they're a little close together. Let me know what you think. It is still soldered underneath that, and it's a different kind of look. I thought about, I needed some actual like craft leather, some small thin strips. I tried to cut that as clean as I could. One edge of it is from the edge of the wallet, so it's got a nice rounded edge to it. The other one is just cut with the scissors. So, yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do next. That's all this video was about, was making that fuel tank. It didn't come out quite as good as I'd hoped. Hopefully we can get some patina on that. We'll have to see what that entails. I was reading some stuff. It said to use vinegar and acetone and putting it in a container. And I don't have any acetone. I put it in vinegar and peroxide like I did my metal, but it didn't seem to do the trick. It's still nice and shiny. I had to sand it all down to get all the gunk off of it after I soldered it. But anyway, it's another feature. Doesn't look bad. I'm still iffy on the leather straps, and they are screwed in. I drilled holes in the bottom, and they're screwed through both ends, so they're on there nice and tight. No tying or anything weird with that. Sorry I didn't show you more of it. I just got caught up, and yeah, just been working on this for like 3 hours now. Not including the trip to Home Depot for the copper. But I think it works and it doesn't interfere with my suspension. Still clears the upper links just fine. So I don't know. We'll see where this takes us next. I haven't forgot about doing my smoke on the side of from the exhaust, and I've still haven't forgotten about wrapping the exhaust and stuff. I've got plans for that, but I'm just waiting right now to see when we get there, because I'm just not ready to do it just yet. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and yep, I'll see you on the next video.